Everyone is saying Europe is finished. The headlines, the experts, they all think it's over. They say it's getting crushed by America and China. For 5 years, everything that could go wrong has gone wrong for their supply chains. Underneath all the chaos you see on the news, a massive change is happening in secret. Europe isn't falling apart. It's building an economic fortress. This isn't an accident. We're watching a massive strategic plan to completely rebuild its most important industries to not just survive, but dominate the world. And in this video, we're going to show you exactly how. For years, Europe was seen as weak, needing help from everyone else for everything. Energy, special materials, even computer chips. And honestly, it was true. Their master plan was to just buy stuff from other countries for cheap and hope it all worked out. But after a pandemic, a war, and massive fights over trade, that plan completely fell apart. So Europe had a choice: give up or make some of the biggest changes in history. They chose to fight. They started building up their economic walls, not by hiding from the world, but by completely rewiring their entire industry. They call it open strategic autonomy, which is a fancy way of saying they're cutting off unreliable partners and betting big on themselves. They switched from just-in-time to just-in-case. And it's already working. Recent studies are showing companies moving their factories closer and closer. One recent study showed that over 90% of companies see nearshoring as a key way to safeguard their supply chains. We're seeing this everywhere, from the Mediterranean to Eastern Europe, where 57% of surveyed companies already source goods, and another 32% plan to move activities there. So what's their first move? They are building factories like crazy. For years, they sent all their factory jobs away to save money. But now the tide has completely turned. They're bringing them all back. They're building new factories at home, in countries next door, anywhere close and friendly. And this isn't just talk, it's actually happening. Recent studies are showing companies moving their factories closer and closer. One recent study showed that over 90% of companies see nearshoring as a key way to safeguard their supply chains. We're seeing this everywhere, from the Mediterranean to Eastern Europe, where 57% of surveyed companies already source goods, and another 32% plan to move activities there. Just look at the car industry. Instead of getting hit with insane fees and shipping costs, German cars are now using insane robotics and automation to make cars at home for cheaper. They're ditching faraway suppliers and building super strong local networks. This doesn't mean they're cutting off the world. It's about being smart. A 2025 survey showed that 2/3 of huge US and European companies now have an active reindustrialization strategy, which is up from 59% in 2024. That same survey showed 82% of executives plan to reduce their reliance on China, a huge jump from 58% in 2024. The goal is simple: make a supply chain so strong it can survive anything, because another global crisis is coming. It's not a question of if, but when. The EU has launched some insane plans, and the biggest are called Important Projects of Common European Interest, or IPCEIs. Think of these like the ultimate team-up, where countries and private companies spend billions to build entire industries for critical stuff from scratch. The EU Chips Act is their craziest plan yet. They are mobilising over 43 billion euros just to double their global market share of computer chips by 2030. They want to go from making less than 10% of the world's chips to 20%. They never want to run out of these tiny brains for their cars and data centres again. And they're doing the exact same thing for batteries, which power the entire EV revolution. They're building up a massive battery industry, from mining the materials to making the actual cells. The goal is to run their car industry on European batteries and meet up to 90% of their own battery needs by 2030. It even includes your health. The pandemic proved they couldn't get a hold of basic medicines. So now they're using massive alliances like the Critical Medicines Alliance, launched in early 2024, to boost EU-based manufacturing of critical medicines and their ingredients, so they never get caught in that situation again. And we can already see the results. The 2025 EU Industrial R&D Investment Scoreboard showed that top EU health companies increased their research spending by 13% in 2024, which is way faster than the rest of the world. This is a massive, coordinated plan to control the technologies that will run the entire 21st century. We are literally watching the world's economy get redrawn right now. But what does all this chaos mean for your career, for your business? What if you could do more than just watch the headlines? What if you could stress test your own strategy against them? That's why we want you to check out the Euro Arcus briefing site. It lets you run a simulation of these massive news events tailored to your own role and your specific industry, so you can see the impact firsthand.